Camp Dog Tales, Episode 1, Pointing the Bone.
I'd describe a camp dog like a mangy, underfed animal that basically needs to be put down.
No idea.
Where are you from?
Here. I imagine they stay out in the camps mostly. I would I would have I would not open my mouth. It's ridiculous to speak about something that knows not much about it.
I know they're like pretty mangy and pretty dangerous because they don't get fed.
Camp dogs is bloody mongrels.
When I first started working in the Northern Territory, people kept trying to give me puppies. But I didn't want a dog. I'd never had a dog of my own before. 4 weeks later, I'd been adopted by a starving, malnourished puppy whose stumpy tail wagged half her body every time she saw me. I knew it was love at first sight when I didn't care that she was dirty and stinky. She was so skinny that her fur was hanging off her hip bones, and you could count her ribs through her skin. People at the local art centre had given her the name Kunyi, which means poor thing in Pintupi. But I will introduce her as Corny, the purebred camp dog. When we moved to town, I found out that other people clearly didn't love my dog quite as much as I did. Some even presumed she was a dingo and would walk away in fear, despite her cute little floppy ears. And obviously, the general consensus seems to be that camp dogs are mangy, menacing mongrels. What's that, Corny? You feel misunderstood? And there's more to camp dogs than meets the eye. All right then, let's see what we can find out. Yasmin Mushabash is an anthropologist who has been working with the Warlpiri people of Yuendamu for over a decade. She explained that camp dogs are an integral part of Warlpiri language and culture.
Well, the Warlpiri word for camp is ngora, which means, well, it's translated into English as camp, but it also means home. So a house can be a camp as much as a humpy, as much as a spot where you camp out bush. And so a camp dog is one dog of a pack of dogs who are associated with a particular camp. So most houses have dogs, and they kind of live in a pack, and they're camp dogs.
Corny and I went looking for a camp dog expert who could tell us exactly what a camp dog is. But it seems Australia doesn't have one. We did, however, find a wild dog expert who could tell us pretty much what we wanted to know.
I'm Steve Eldridge. I'm a wildlife consultant with Desert Wildlife Services in Alice Springs. Wild dog is a collective term. It includes dingoes, and it also includes hybrid dogs, crossbreds between domestic dogs and dingoes, and also includes feral domestic dogs as well. And the camp dog is the term used for the feral domestic dog. Sometimes you can tell a feral domestic dog from a dingo first up every time, but other times a feral domestic dog will look exactly like a dingo. I mean, they can exhibit the same phenotypic characteristics that a pure dingo can. So you really, to be absolutely sure, you need to do a DNA test.
If not all camp dogs look like dingoes, what do they look like? Wendy Barter has been living in remote Northern Territory for over 30 years and is a keen observer of camp dog culture.
Well, they're every kind of dog you can imagine. So there are sausage dogs and big hairy dogs and floppy-eared dogs and quite a few dingo-type dogs, stripy dogs, pug dogs, those fierce attacking sort of dogs that people have, bull terriers. They're all mixed in there. So you can't just say that looks like a camp dog. But they do tend to look a bit different because they get paint on them and they're hairy, they have scruffy fur with prickles in it and things, and they get in fights, so their ears get chewed, and they usually have scars, and sometimes they get hit by cars, and they just manage to look like camp dogs quite quickly.
Finding prey in the desert can be tricky, particularly in times of drought. For camp dogs without homes, it can lead to killing livestock. And while camp dogs might be considered scruffy, mangy, dangerous creatures, they somehow managed to get themselves adopted by people all over Central Australia. Gloria Morales, the assistant manager of the Wallakalung Art Centre in Yuendamu, has 18 of her own. So you think camp dogs make good pets?
Absolutely. I think they are very clever. They really learn a lot of things, and many times you don't even kind of need to teach him stuff. They learn it from other dogs or just by looking at you. Queenie, be gentle with the puppy. Because, for example, Linda learned to open the doors just by looking at us. We didn't teach her to open the door. I wouldn't want her to know how to open the doors because it's a pain in the butt.
Do you think camp dogs are more intelligent or quicker to learn than your average urban dog?
I think probably the majority of these dogs has had to survive in a really harsh environment, and to be able to do that, you need to be, you need to have a little bit something that is different.
Love them or hate them, a lack of remote area vets means that camp dogs just keep on multiplying, and local residents have to keep on coping.
I don't know how to deal with them dogs. See, like last year or two, we had someone coming out here to the community and like giving injection to maybe get rid of a few dogs away. So that's the only way we had, but there's still too many of them.
Steve Eldridge again.
We need some regular programs instituted. I mean, I know in some areas that they have got regular programs and these are working well, but it's certainly not across the board. Domestic dogs and dingoes are culturally very significant to Aboriginal people, so I mean, we think this has to be considered when we manage domestic dogs and dingoes on communities. But having said that, we really do need to make sure that the dogs that are there remain healthy and also that the population growth rate remains in check.
Connie says this is just the tip of the iceberg, and she knows exactly who we need to talk to next. It's somebody who loves camp dogs so much she set up a community dog program, and on top of that she has evidence that camp dogs are born artists.